We are doing day 7, right? This is day 7, or is it day 8? I don't even know anymore. It'll be in the title. I don't know. A lot of shit's been like going on with my family and all that. This is the whole ass thing. But what I've been kind of going through with them, I'm really noticing it's shaped the perspective that I have in a way that is reflected in the work that I'm doing. So the main story and what's going on there, I'm looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, makes so much sense now. Like what the hero is going through, what everybody always wants something from him, and he feels obligated for everyone else to do what they need him to do because they make him feel like he's the savior to their fucking problems, right? A forced narrative of like hero complex. Like he's got to be the hero for everyone in their own little factions. But he himself doesn't even know who he is, right? The hero doesn't even, like, I remember I was thinking of, like, growing up, I never really had, like, a mentor. I never had, like, this hero, right? My dad was always gone at work, and when he was around, he was very absent. So I never had that, like, hero. I never had that person that I looked up to. It was always... when looking up to my father, for instance, it was always in fear. Like, I hope I'm not doing something wrong. I hope I'm not displeasing. It was never like, I want to prove to him that I'm this. It was always just like, can I just be okay and not have to fucking do this stuff? Or can I make you think I'm not such a piece of shit? If that's indeed what you feel, I don't know. I could never tell with him. Nothing was ever good enough with my parents sometimes. So that was just difficult. But then I look at like Eris and the journey I'm putting him through, and as I'm writing book 2, it just all clicked. I'm like, he's being faced with like, everyone told him to keep going this way. You're gonna be the hero, go that way. You're gonna be the hero, go that way. And he's just doing what he's told, and then he meets people and they're like, yep, you're on the right path, go this way. Go that way. By the way, you're gonna save everybody. And he's sitting there with that shit, and he's like, I don't even know what I'm saving or who I'm saving or why I'm saving them. It's like a whole jarring experience. And then you put this kid at the threshold guardian. You put this kid right at the point of like, okay, you're about to step into, like, let's just use like becoming a Jedi. You're about to step into that. And everyone needs you to be this, and they need you to be that. You need to do this, you need to do that, and then he's presented with all this shit. And then it's like, okay, you're gonna do it, here. And then he gets this shit, and he's like, I don't understand any of this. And he's got to take it with him and try to unravel what the fuck he's supposed to do. Because everyone gives him all this cryptic shit. Everyone wants him to do this, they want him to do that, and it's like, he doesn't even understand what he needs to do. What about for himself? You know? As I look back at book 1, there was a lack of Eris having a mentor. When I worked on the first draft of the book, his mentor was like the mentor. It was a good guy. It was someone I was like, oh yeah, like he's gonna guide Eris. He's gonna tell him to do this shit. He's gonna like be alongside him. He's gonna be like a Gandalf / Obi-Wan. It's gonna be great. Qui-Gon Jinn, you know, like, we got it. But then as I kept going, I struggled. And like now I can say this looking back, but at the time I didn't notice this. I was really struggling with making a mentor because I didn't know how to reflect it in my own life. Most of the book is like that. It's a reflection of my life, right? That's how we write. Well, I didn't know what to do with that. I'm like, I don't even know what archetype to put in my head. of someone that I know that's like took me along the path. I'm like, come on, we're gonna go this way. You should do that. This is what this is. That's what that is. Here's how you handle. Like, I didn't get that. Do you know what I mean? So it was really difficult for me to sit and try to come up with like, well, what's a mentor? And the one thing that I struggled with was always, you know, they always say, write what you know. Okay, well, I don't know. Like, you know, I could read a mythology all I want. I could read ancient stories, you know, from like Homer, or I could read more modern stories and stuff and like try to pick up on their shit and retell it. But I remember like I would try that stuff and I would hit dead ends because I couldn't relate, because I couldn't make it make sense to me. And so, you know, I'd go back and rewrite it. And then eventually I just said like, no, I can only write what I know. And my character might fumble around. He might, like the whole first book, like, he's going to be lost. There's going to be almost zero direction. He's going to be at the whim of everyone around him. Because in his mind, he's waiting for, like, okay, you think I'm this good guy? Then I'm going to wait for you to figure this shit out. And you just tell me where to fucking go. Because apparently I got to fucking do this. And it mirrors a lot of my own life. So it's like I had to realize that. Like I couldn't write this synthetic story. Like just have the hero go on his journey, have him meet the mentor here, have him cross into the threshold barrier here, have him go into the unknown and then come out and rebirth. Like, that's fantastic. But what if I've never done that? How am I supposed to write a story that's supposed to feel compelling and real and raw and emotional if it's synthetic? If I myself can't relate to it, I'm just sitting here writing a story that I can't relate to? How are you going to want to relate? You know what I mean? Like, you'll sense that. Like, you're like, I'm not reading this shit. He's phoning it in. So, that was this massive realization that I've been having. Meanwhile, like, all throughout, you know, this, like, journey of my own life and what I'm supposed to do, mirroring Eris, it's only until fucking recently, the end of 2023, that I'm starting to find my own path. Surprise, surprise, you read the book, Eris in book 2 is like finally starting to figure out, what I say, I'm like 50-something pages in. He's finally going like, wait a minute. I think I'm starting to see what I might have to do. Like, I know what everyone wants me to do, but now, like, I'm meeting these people that are giving me more an insight into, like, the Council of Elrond shit. Like, when they finally sit down and Elrond's like, all right, everybody, here's what we have to do. That kind of moment's happening where it's like, oh, it's no longer I carry this ring to this place. Now it's like I have to take this and destroy it because there's a whole threat at stake. Like, that's where I'm at in book 2. I'm unraveling the entire plot. And Eris farting. He's starting to like really see like, okay, where's my road in this? What do I have to do? That will come more throughout the book. Mine's a little bit longer than I sit down and talk. He meets his own council that'll show him where he has to go from the point of book 2 and then like, okay, here's your journey. You have to do this. And meanwhile, my other characters are going through their own little journeys like that. So that's how I feel like I'm in my life. Where it's like I'm sitting at this threshold. Where it's like I've gone up this fucking hill and half the circle, because when they talk about the hero's journey, it's like a circle and there are ticks and each thing's along the journey. I feel like I've like, from starting this book 2012, 2013, I'm like almost going into the unknown. Even though this whole time I felt like it was unknown. Maybe I started there. I don't know. Maybe this is the rebirth, going back into the known again. I couldn't tell you where I'm at. But I noticed like I'm about to tread into a whole new segment of my life. One where I'm no longer feeling like I need to be the savior for everyone else. Because that was the big problem in my youth and growing up into becoming an adult. Everyone would always look at me with their problems and want me to help them through it. Need me to get them out of it. Need me to, like, I always felt that, and I had this savior complex that was placed on my shoulders and I didn't want it to be. Again, like Eris. And I'm finally getting to a point, because I'm ahead of Eris and I'm writing in the past, So his book 2 is my, like, 5 years ago. I'm noticing how to get out of that now, so I can write it for him. You know, it took me so long to write Eris's story because I have to live it first. I have to go through this, and recently I've had a strange reawakening of my relationship with my dad. And he, like, saying that he wants me in his life and stuff. I've never heard him say that before. And, like, he was extremely upset about it. He's like, I want you in my life. I feel like I fucked up. I feel like this. And I'm like, you know, because he was always very absent and stuff, and distant, and has a lot of his own traumas and stuff in his life. And my parents are going through this whole thing. And for me, you know, I was, like I said, the guy in the middle. Like, okay, like, you tell me about her, and then he tells me, you know, and then like that, and then I'm relaying shit. And then it came to a fucking head where, like, yesterday, I was like, my mom was on this side, my dad was on that side, and I had to, like, be their psychologist, their fucking therapist. And I was like, you hear what he's saying? He's saying this, this, and that. And then my dad would start getting pissed off about stuff. I'm like, you're using your anger because that's how you fucking cope with things when you feel defenseless. You need to learn to... And I'm sitting there doing this. And I just, like, there's always this thought, like, you know, I'm your kid. You guys are supposed to be the ones that taught me this shit. I shouldn't have to be, you know, living with you guys, moving out, and then I have to come back, tread through the darkness, go into those family, what do they call it, family systems, and have to tread carefully so I don't fall into darkness again, to help you get out. And what it feels like, and I told my wife this, is like the analogies, that's what the darkness is, and that's what the forest is, in a lot of my metaphors. So the forest can be any sort of dark situation. This one happens to be a family systems. Treading back into the family systems as dark forest, you have to be prepared, so you don't bump back into the same old things. Again, falling into the family systems. Whatever that may be in your family. You bring a flashlight, you bring something to illuminate the path. And it's hard because you have to tread back into that to help your family get out of it. But it's difficult when it's like, this shouldn't, like, I always have that feeling like, why should I be the one that has to save my family? That's decaying. That's like, everyone's so heartbroken, everyone's so distressed and stressed out and broken and damaged and had such a horrible fucking youth to the point where it's affected their adulthood and their traumas. And why do I got to be the one to unravel that? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't fucking do this. I'm trying to get into my next fucking chapter. And here I go again, back here to be the savior for people. And that's where I feel like similar with Eris. It's just like, I don't want to be everyone's savior. You know what I wanted? I wanted my own fucking mentor. I wanted someone to help me so I didn't have to start so far back on the starting line. Like when I would talk about like feeling behind, like I'm finally feeling like I'm becoming smarter, enlightened, ready. And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm in my 30s finally fucking figuring this stuff out. I feel so far behind. The starting gun went off and no one told me. And now everyone's so far ahead, I feel like I'm like lagging. It's difficult. Like, I want to be mad about it. I try not to let myself get egotistical, you know, me, victim. That's the whole thing I'm preaching, is not to do that. So I don't allow myself to like get the woe is me and, oh, everything's everyone else's fault and I didn't have anything. You know, I try not to do that. I do. It's an active thing. Everyone struggles with it, and so do I. But it does get to me sometimes. You know, I really wish I would have had. I almost felt like my parents didn't prepare me for life very well. I was almost either sheltered from it or trapped too much in the system of that family to realize how to function in the outside world. So I come out of that family with a savior complex, a forced one, and it got me in trouble in my 20s because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. You just got to help people. You got to fix them and stuff. And I had to like unlearn that. Because in that, what you're doing is you're creating almost like a, how would you word that? Um, you're making people what you think they should be. You're manipulating stuff, and you're not doing it in an evil way. You're just doing it to because you feel like you see the better for them, and you're just trying to help them out. I see what's right for you. I'm gonna help you out of this. It's something that I've to still struggle with unlearning, and I have to find a way to just exist and do that for myself. I mentioned in the last video, or one of the videos, or no, maybe I didn't. Maybe I was talking to myself. I don't know anymore. But I was saying, I never really got the part of Luke failing. I heard people mention that in Star Wars. They said Luke Skywalker on the Dagobah scene, he actually failed. And I just remember thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like, how did he fail? And I surmised that, well, to me, that helped solidify, like, no, you have to put your shit aside to save other people. And that's what Luke did. He put everything aside so he could save other people, his friends, Han, Leia, and Chewie, and the robots. And he never completed his training for himself to put an end to the darkness, in a sense, like, the Empire. And that really affected me when I realized that. And I just was like, that shaped me in a way that I didn't realize. It's like you don't worry about yourself. You worry about everyone else first. Then you can worry about yourself. It took me so fucking long to realize that. And now I'm sitting here like trying to make myself better, but then I just feel the echo of the past just trying to pull me back. My family, like, come save us, save us, save us. And there's so much guilt that I'm like, no, you guys save yourselves. I feel like I constantly have to tread back into that, and that's terrifying. If that makes any sense. I feel so much guilt in saying all this right now because, I feel like you shouldn't say that about your family, but like, I don't know how to feel about all this stuff. When your dad's looking at you with tears in his eyes, asking you, how do you get through this? How do you handle this depression? How do you not just want to fucking end it? And you know what I mean? Like, you have your father telling you that, and you're supposed to be like, well, so let me tell you. Like, it's hard to fucking just be okay. And I just remember I was like, you fucking basically don't. You live with it, but you can combat it every day. You got to give yourself the tools. And how do you do that? You have to unravel your own traumas, and you have to unravel your own things that you learned as defense mechanisms. You have to make all that, when you realize why you do the things that you do, because of your traumas of your childhood, it allows you to tread through the darkness better. It allows you to go into it and not have to suffer so deeply. Because at least you have some tools. You have a fucking flashlight, at the very least. Now you're not running into trees so much. But you need something else. Like, I'm like sitting here saying that to my own dad. Feeling like I'm saying it to my son. It's this strange relationship. Like, he was absent most of my life, and now it's like I have to mentor him. How crazy is that? How are you supposed to just be okay with all this? He wants to be back in your life, but you gotta fucking teach him how to do this. Because you can't just exist alongside him. It becomes this thing. I don't even know how to feel about that. I'm just like... Again, I'm put back in the family system. Well, I have to. He needs my help. The man's talking about fucking blowing his brains out. What am I supposed to do? Be like, well, don't do that, and then you'll be okay. What am I going to do? It's like, it's tough. It's a strange situation to be in. And it's like, is it a shocker that I'm off in imaginary land working on my fucking book? That I'm not talking to people? Is that a shocker? That I just want to figure my fucking self out, and I'm sitting here trying to do that with this work, and I just keep feeling these fucking arms pulling me back? I'm at a really weird crossroads. And I'm not going to say like, well, no one can relate to this, because I'm sure there's lots of people that can relate to it. I just don't know. I've never heard anyone say anything to me yet. I'll wait, but I don't know what to fucking do sometimes. And that's like all that's on my mind. That's all that's on my mind. I'm trying to write today. I'm more working on the background of everything at stake. What the hell's going on in this world? So I'm going to lay it out on the table. The whole Sauron made the rings, and he gave them to this, and he gave them to them. And in the book, like, I'm doing that right now. I'm like really honing in on telling the entire story of how everything came to be, because it's about to come up. I'm trying to focus on that. I'm trying to really make sure I got everyone's motivations correct. I got to make sure that we give mention to everything that's at play, because it's going to matter. And I'm trying to do this stuff, and I got this fucking shit over here that's pulling on me. I'm trying to establish my life and my fucking place in it. I'm trying to figure out who the fuck I am, and it's a constant. But you need to be back here, and you need to be this for everybody. We all need you. We need you. I can't, if I said any of this to them, it would be like, fine, fuck it. I guess my feelings don't matter. I'm out of here. Like, it becomes that, and I can't say those things. Because then I'm like apologizing, like, oh, fine, I'm sorry that I have feelings about this. And like, so God forbid I say anything about it. And it's just like, you kind of, a lot of us probably tread that stuff, you know, because you got that home and then you got work. Everyone needs you to be something at work, right? I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful that when I come home, I'm here. My wife is out in the other room over there, probably playing Fallout. She never makes me feel that way. If anything, she wants just me to be okay and be happy at the most. But there's no pressure. So if I had that home too, I'd probably lose it. If I'm trying to be in here, like, okay, like at least I can just turn my phone off from my family. And then she's coming in here telling me I gotta be this, and that. I don't think I could do that anymore. And I'm very grateful that my house is the safe place. That my family I'm starting is what I need. I just like thinking about some of the shit my family, my parents like went through in their lives, and thinking about how that affected them and made them who they are, and really brought forth their traumas to which they can't even see a way out of it. It breaks my heart. But I do know they can get out of it. Just for whatever reason, they won't. You know what I mean? It's so easy. And like I was always saying with the whisper, the promise, it's like it's so warm and inviting, isn't it? To stay in your trauma, to stay in your kind of like that little weak shell, that little pity party. It's great because it makes you feel strong. I'm identifying it. I feel strength from it. I'm a victim. And it feels good, but my family is at a point where I don't know if they understand that you have to get out of it. I don't think they see it's a victim mentality. I think they see it as like they can't see that side of it. They only see this side, which is everything's against me. And then I'm like, no, look at the other side. It's telling you that you are victimizing yourself. You can get out of this. Nope, victim. But you are making yourself one. No, I am one. That's what's hard to teach them. Trying to teach my father how to get out of this and be free from it. How do I know you can do it? Because I live in the same house as you. I grew up, and your being and my mother and my sister and brother, like, they affected me. I'm from the same family. I'm getting out of it. Hey, look, I bet you can too, because I'm not some fucking enigma. It's like, yeah, sometimes every once in a while there comes a child who can transcend the fucking poverty. And like, no, like I just got out of it because I tried. I identified shit and I said, I'm going to leave this situation and I'm going to not be a victim. What did it take? Well, all these journals, all this, trying to unravel my fucking mind and find out who I am. Taking that and writing it in a fucking book. That's how I got out of it. Well, I'm getting out of it, I should say. That's the fucking what I'm trying to do here. That's what these videos are. Just a documentation of unraveling a part of myself and finding out who the fuck I am, instead of just living and existing and doing and doing and doing. Pure and simple, you know? You know how proud I am of the fucking shit I'm writing here? You know how proud I am of, like, what I'm doing right now? I'm incredibly proud of myself. It is not fucking easy. Every time I sit down at this typewriter, at this desk, pen and paper, wherever I'm working, I am so fucking exhausted from it. I don't want to do it. I hate doing it. It's hard to do. But I keep fighting through that little barrier, that fog of lies. I keep fighting through it and saying, no, you're not going to be a bitch and just sit here and not figure your shit out because it's hard. Like, you're going to fucking do this. Well, I'd rather sit and do nothing and dwell. Like, nope, you're going to do this. And I'm always, it's a daily fucking struggle, but I fucking make myself do this to get better. That's what I told them. You need to fucking work at it. You have to. I learned that the savior complex kind of thing is wrong because no one saved me. And all I ever wanted them was to. So what did I do? I sat and waited. Somebody save me. I'm drowning. Did you ever try to, like, flap your arms around? Someone save me. I'm drowning. Like, no, you need to try to save yourself. There's a buoy right over there. Grab hold of it, you know? Like, I had to learn that myself, and so I know they do too. All I need is some encouragement. And eventually we can all be free from this stuff. You know, we're aboard the trial of life. Sadly, it's got to be this way. I don't know why we ever thought it was going to be. You're born, you figure shit out, and you live a happy life. You know, you have your house, you have your family, and everything's great, and there's not many problems. Like, why did we ever think that would be it? This whole fucking realm is full of trials and tribulations and garbage, and it sucks. There is no such thing as a happy life. There's merely happy moments in your life. There is no ultimate goal of, I found nirvana, I'm happy, I'm at peace, I have everything I want, I don't have to work on my relationship anymore, it just is, I'm married now. No, you have to work every day. One of my things that my dad said to me that was very hard to hear was, I feel like with my wife I lost my best friend over the years. I'm like, because you gotta work on it. You aren't just friends with somebody and like, okay, we're friends, right? All right, cool. And you leave and then you just like come around whenever you need them. You have to work at it all the time. You have to be together. Help him, they help you. That way it's not a savior thing. I need you right now, and he helps you. And he's like, well, I need you. Oh, and then you help him. And then now it's like, oh, we're mutually helping each other. Same as a relationship, but a friendship. You can do that in your marriage because you're supposed to be best friends with your spouse, but whatever. And I'm like, that's it. You grow it every day. You water that plant every fucking day. You don't water it when you need it. You water it every day even though you don't have time to think about it. Like, I don't know how that can't be understood. There's not a barrier you hit and like, okay, marriage achievement done. Like, no, your marriage can fall apart if you don't keep trying. Okay, now that I got the the ring on her finger, I can kind of like, let out my gut, and I'm kind of fucking, treat her like shit a little bit because she's my wife. She'll stay around. I don't have to work on my traumas or anything. I can just be like, no. How would it ever be that way? That's the hardest part to face, I think. It's a constant thing every day, working at it. Yeah. Well, I think we'll call this one an end, and we'll probably call it Family Systems to give it a simple title for this kind of shit, but I'll continue on, keep on writing, and we'll give more updates when we get there.